going? Yes, it is. Okay, so section 4-7. I want to make sure we haven't forgotten. If I give you something such as this, okay, now just watch this for a second here, okay? I give you y equals 3x to the fourth minus 9x to the third plus 8x squared minus 3x plus 7. I have no idea what that thing looks like, okay? But I have a general idea of what this thing looks like. If I was going to graph this thing, I'd have to plot a whole boatload of points. But what I'm wondering is this. Does this generally look like, when I look at this, everything here impacts the function, okay? But which one impacts it the most? The first one, the one that has the highest exponent, okay? So, does this thing generally look like a parabola? Or does it generally look like, I call them S-shaped curves. If you really use your imagination, well, or, I don't know, S or Z-shaped. If you turn your head, you kind of can see an S or a Z there. Who remembers, does it look sort of like the first one or the second one?
The first one.
Why?
Even.
What's even?
Before.
The power. The highest power is even. It looks sort of like this. And does it open up or does it open down?
Depends on if it's positive or negative.
Does it open up or does it open down? Because this one is positive. So this would generally look like this. Okay, now does it look exactly like that? No. I mean, it probably looks something like this. I have no idea. It looks probably like, I don't know, something like that. I'm just totally guessing, okay? Which, if you ignore this weird part in the middle, it still looks sort of like a parabola. If I made it a negative, it would be a parabola opening down, generally opening down, okay? Now, if it was something like this, negative 7x to the fifth plus 4x to the third minus 2x plus 1, okay? Would that also look like a parabola? No. You look at just the first term. Again, do the other terms impact the function? Sure, but not as much. Okay, I use the example of a cash register. If you throw pennies and nickels and dimes into a cash register, does that impact the total? Yeah, but what really impacts is when you throw 10s and 20s in the, or 50s in the drawer. Okay, so this right here, since this is let's make it negative 8x to the fifth. Okay, would this also look like a parabola? No. Because it's raised to an odd power. It would generally look like either this or like that. I'm going to make this one dotted. Which one would it be? Would it be the solid one or the dotted one if it was this right here? Maybe guess. Why?
Because
Because it's negative. It's going to be going down, okay? So, I told you not to write this down. If you've got these down, you're like, I got a piece of cake here, then don't worry about it. But if you're struggling with it, I'm going to write down 4 quick examples, and then we're going to start the assignment. Actually, we've got to do one more thing, and then we'll start the assignment. Just some quick examples. If I gave you this, all that really matters is the first term. Just the first term, okay? If I gave you y equals 7x to the sixth, it would look sort of like that. Y equals negative 9x to the sixth, that would sort of look like this. Actually, make it to the 16th. It doesn't matter, okay? If I gave you y equals 8x to the seventh, it would sort of look like this. If I give you y equals negative 12x to the ninth, it would look sort of like this, okay? Okay, the power, if it's an even power, it's a parabola. If it's an odd power, it's kind of an S-shaped curve. If it's positive, it's going up. If it's negative, it's going down. Positive going up, negative going down, okay? Last thing we need to talk about, we're going to dive into the assignment, is this. This goes back to September. And I told you this is going to pop up from time to time, okay? Actually, let's do this. Does that generally look like a parabola, or does that generally look like a S-shaped curve? Parabola, because it's raised to an even power. It's going to be a parabola. It's a parabola opening what? Up or down? Down. Why?
Negative.
It's a parabola opening down. Now, I'm looking for 2 words here, okay? There's plus 5 and there's plus 3. What the heck does that plus 5 with the x do to the graph? What did you just do, IOB? I think you answered it without saying anything. Maybe not.
Raise it 5?
Huh?
Raise it.
Oh, no. I saw you go like this, so I thought you... What way? Left 5, okay? Your head went way to the left. That's why I thought you said left 5 without saying anything. Remember, with the x, in case you forgot it,
Oh, that's so
it moves it
awkward.
left and right. What? Opposite of what you think. Off by itself, it moves it up and down what you think. So the 2 words I'm looking for were what?
Opposite.
Opposite, same. So it moves it 5 left and 3 up. And it generally looks like a parabola opening down.
So it's not new, but it's not.
It's not really new. It's just going back to the old. I mean, before it was always raised to the second power, always. Okay. Now it's raised to the sixth. What if I made it to the 16th? It would still generally look the same. What happens is this: that parabola gets super skinny. Okay, super skinny, but it still opens down. Okay. Any question on that? As long as you remember these and you remember that from back in September, you're golden. Okay. All right. Let's dive into the assignment. I'm only going to do 6 of them with you. Okay. Okay, so if I gave you x to the 4th, is that what it says? X to the 4th. What number is this? Number 3. F of x is x to the 4th. G of x is x to the 4th plus 3. Okay? They ask you to describe it, then they ask you to graph it, and that's just multiple choice, okay? So, what's that plus 3 going to do to the graph?
Up 3.
Up 3. Okay? The original graph looks sort of like a parabola because it's raised to the 4th power. So it's going to look sort of like this. Then you can move it up 3, so flip, flip, flip. Up 3. That problem's done. Oh, they don't give you the original graph. It's okay. I won't draw the original graph anymore.
I didn't take it.
Okay. Number 5. Okay, question number 5. So in this one we have y equals x to the f of x is x to the 5th. Okay, and then they give us minus 2 minus 1. That's what it says. Yep. Okay, so they give f of x is x to the 5th, and g of x is x minus 2 to the 5th. Take away 1. They ask us to describe it, and then graph it. So, what's the minus 2 going to do?
Right.
Right 2. And how about the, whoops, not right 1. Right 2 and down 1. Is this a parabola? Or not?
No.
No. Why?
Because it's odd.
Odd. And I want to make sure we get our terminology down here. You might be saying, well, the power's odd. Well, if there's more than one power, I want to make sure that the highest power is called the degree, okay? There's still some students think, when I say degree, they're like, what are they talking about, okay? If I give you something like this, y equals 9x squared minus 3x to the 4th plus 8x to the 6th minus 1. Be careful here. What's the degree of this?
6.
6. Why?
Because it's the highest power.
And why does he be careful?
Because it's not first.
It's not in the right order, okay? This one should have been first. That's 6th degree, okay? So don't lose, some students say, what's it mean by degree? It's simply the highest power. That's all it is, the highest power. Okay, so this one, we said doesn't look like a parabola. It's raised to an odd power. It's going to be one of these ones. It's going to be one going up or one going down?
Up.
Up, why?
Is not.
It's not negative, okay? So let's go 2 to the right, and down 1, I'm going to put a dot here. Some students have a hard time drawing this thing, okay? If you struggle, and I'm not an artist by any means, okay? If you struggle with this, here's what I would do. Draw half of a parabola going up. Then you should do over here. Draw half of a parabola
Going down.
going down. Okay, sort of like that. Okay, I'm going to erase these. Hopefully you guys got them down. 2 down, 4 to go. This one looks like a tough one. It's not. They give you this function. It looks like this. Looks like a W. That's what f of x is, a W. They want to know, what does that say? Minus 2. What would, is it with it? Yes, it is. Okay. If this is the f function, what would the g function look like? You have to answer in 2 words. What would,
Left.
careful, it's
Or
with
right
the x.
two.
We went right to the 2, right 2. It's with the x. Now what if it was like this? What if minus 2 is right there?
It'd be down.
Down 2. It'd be down 2. This moves it right 2. So we take this W, move it 2 to the right. So it's going to look, I don't know, sort of like. Now I didn't put any hash marks there. So you can't tell how far I moved it over. But the thing is, your four choices, guess what your four choices are? You have a graph where one of them's moved to the right, the other one's gonna move to the left, the other one's gonna move up, the other one's gonna move down, okay? So you don't need hash marks, okay? It's the only one that's moved to the right. We going too fast on these or too slow, just right? Hopefully it's pretty easy stuff. It should be. Next one, very similar again. We're drawing this W again. So same function, I'm not gonna draw it again. This time they want f of minus 2 plus 1. Not plus 1, x minus 2 plus 2, I'm sorry. So, how's this one gonna look in 4 words? Right 2, up 2. So it's this W, but you're gonna move it right and up. So it's gonna look like, I don't know, sort of like that. And again, when you look at your choices, there's only gonna be one that's moved right and up. The other one's gonna move right and down, or left and down, or left and up, or I don't know. Okay. Number 11. Okay. So more of the same stuff we have. And if you remember, way back in September, I told you about horizontal things. Don't worry about it. I'm leaving that out. Everything's vertical, okay? Okay, so we have 11 to the, or f of x is x to the 4th. And they want negative 2x to the 4th. Okay, we haven't talked about this yet today, but this is old stuff. What's that negative 2 gonna do to the graph? It's gonna do two things. It's gonna flip it upside down because it's negative, and what else is it gonna do?
Does it reflect?
Well, when you flip it upside down, that's reflect, same thing. Okay, the negative flips it, and what else?
Oh, it stretches it or shrinks it, right?
Which is it? But don't go this way because you're doing it horizontally. Everything's vertical. I left out everything that's horizontal. Is it gonna stretch it or shrink it? Stretch. Now listen carefully. I know there was confusion back in September about this. Why is it gonna stretch it? What's bigger than 1? Okay, listen carefully. He's totally right. 2 is bigger than 1. Now, if you're sitting there going, but wait a minute, that's negative 2. And is negative 2 bigger than 1? No, it's not. Well, we already dealt with the negative.
Goes
Negative
away.
does what? Flips it. You don't look at the negative 2, you look at 2. Okay? So, what's happening here is you're going to stretch it by a factor of 2. Vertically stretch it by a factor of 2. And flipping it over the x-axis is okay. We don't call it flipping it, though. We reflect it. It's called reflect over the x-axis. So it's filling in the blanks and then actually doing the graph, okay? So you're going to vertically stretch it by a factor of 2, then reflect it or flip it over the x-axis. This ones actually do have the original graph. What's this thing going to look like? Is it going to be S-shaped or like a parabola? To the 4th, so it's got to be a parabola. And if something stretches vertically, what else happens to it? Forget about math. If you stretch something vertically, it also gets skinnier horizontally, okay? So the other one's going to look sort of like this. It's going to be skinnier than the top one. Yeah, okay, you should be able to figure that out. Okay, number 13. This is the last one. Shoot, I'm doing it with you guys. How about that? The last one. And tell me the truth. Don't tell me what I want to hear. I mean, are we good with this? I mean,
Yeah.
I think this is pretty easy. There's stuff that we've done that's hard, like long division. I think this is pretty easy stuff. Okay, so we have x to the 3rd, f of x is x to the 3rd, and g of x is what? 5x to the 3rd plus 1. Okay, so what's going on here?
Vertical stretch line.
Yeah, why is it going to stretch it vertically?
Bigger than 1.
What's bigger than 1?
The 5.
Vertical stretch by a factor of 5. One more thing.
Up 1.
Okay, 1 up. I'm going to put 1 up because when you're filling in the blanks, it's not up 1, it's 1 up. It's not up 1, it's 1 up, yeah. Okay, is this also a parabola? No.
No.
It's raised to the power of 3. It's going to be a kind of S-shape. S-shape going up or S-shape going down?
Up.
Up because it's positive. So let's go up 1. We have the original one right here. Okay. we're gonna move it up one. And again, if you're gonna stretch it, it's gonna get skinnier this way, horizontally. So it's gonna look sort of like that. Okay. Questions on these? Okay. Again, this assignment's due on Monday at 3 o'clock, but tomorrow's gonna be a work day, whether we have snow day or not. Some of you are probably gonna get the assignment done before you leave here. We'll start section 4.8 on Monday. You will not have time to work on this on Monday.